And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
All right, here we go again. The Weighing In podcast with Josh the Punk Thompson and me, John McCarthy, with Gian. I think in his last week on the controls, we have got a ton of stuff to talk about. I think I created a shitstorm last week. Didn't mean to, but you know what? That's that whole clickbait thing going again. And whatever. I don't care. But we got a lot of other news coming up. Not any fights really coming up that we get to really talk about like they're going to happen in a couple days. But so much going on in the world of combat sports. What is going on, my man?
It's good. Merry Christmas. Hope you had a good Christmas. Hope everyone had a good Christmas.
I don't want to talk about it. COVID.
Everyone was good. Everything is good. Gian was late this morning. Pissed me off. So we were filming 40 minutes late because of his ass. Other than that, I think it was for me. I had a good week. It was nice to be out and about. Went mountain biking. Went to the park. Did a run. Did some stuff here at the gym by myself, with some friends, one or two of my other employees. So we were here just working out, doing a couple little things, but that's about it, man. Not much going on. Nice and relaxed. It's Sunday now. Not much. I think it's nice. Sometimes here, I'm the guy that for holidays, I try to visit like my mom's side, my dad's side, because they don't all get along. So I visit the mom's side, I visit the dad's side.
Separately, you're saying separately.
Yes, all separately. And then all my other extended family I try to visit as well because they don't all get along either. And so I'm the guy that's kind of driving around to see everyone. And this year that didn't happen. And I'm actually kind of like, you know what? Maybe this is a new trend.
It was kind of cool.
Maybe I will just sit at home and I'll invite the people over that I want to have over. And then just if they don't come, they don't come. If they do, then great. Then that'll be the way I do it from now on, I think. I think it's going to be better that way.
Well, this was the first year in a while that I was actually going to have Christmas at home because normally I go out to California and see my grandkids and stuff like that, but things didn't work out. And then everyone here got COVID, including me. A lot of fun. No big deal. I'm making it through it. It's all good.
Oh, man. How you feeling?
I'm actually all right, man. You get a headache for a while, a little bit of the wheeze, but I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
All good.
How long you had it? Since Christmas Day?
Yeah, about 2 days before Christmas.
2 days before Christmas? Okay, so you're pushing what, day 6?
Yeah, I'm just about out of this shit now.
Yeah. They're saying by day 7 and 10 are like supposed to be like not so good areas.
Yeah, it's now time to start rocking and rolling.
Yeah. All right. We can talk about Patricio first. Coker's saying that he's cool with Patricio vacating the 155-pound title. I think everyone kind of agrees.
Oh, he needs to.
Yeah, he just he's caught up right now in the 145-pound World Grand Prix. That's coming. Should be coming up to a close here pretty shortly. Hopefully by April or May is what this sounds like. I don't know, February, March, April, May. Yeah, I think probably by May. I think. So he's not a 55-pounder. Anyone that tries to say he is so small. Like in terms of he is not. I mean, like structure wise, yeah, he's not physically. He's a fucking brick shit house.
He's a tank.
Yeah,
he's structurally not long, not tall, but he doesn't need to be because he has figured out a way to make what God gave him work incredibly well. So he's a stud.
When you're gifted with that amount of power, it's just crazy. For such a small frame and to be given that much power, it's just, I'm so jealous, man.
Yeah.
So jealous.
That's one of those things you can work on your power. You can actually make yourself hit harder, but it can only get so much.
Yeah.
And it is a thing that, it's either gifted to you and you have it when you were born, the ability to throw and to generate a torque and a power and a velocity that just puts people on their ass.
Yeah.
Or you don't. And it's, he definitely was given that. But you can go through time and history with guys that were structurally not that big You know, Joe Frazier was not big, had a left hook that would fucking knock a tree over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Rocky Marciano, undefeated as a heavyweight, he was small. He was a 185-pound heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
Figure that out. That's a middleweight in MMA, but he could knock the fucking chestnuts off a tree by just hitting it, you know? And so there are those guys that have that power. Patricio, he has been gifted with the ability to have a dynamite fucking shot in either hand. So it definitely helps him in his career and what he's doing. God bless him. If he wants to fight in the light heavyweights, you know, that's great. I don't think he should.
In the lightweights,
like
you mean?
Yeah, I said light heavyweights. Lightweights. Thank you very much. You know, you look and you go, that was back in May of, I want to say like May 2019.
2019.
When he took, So there hasn't been a 155 title fight since then. You can't have that. Your title cannot be locked up to where it's, and he's in the featherweight Grand Prix. So I think his big thing is he's looking for that chance for his brother to get that shot at, you know, the title. And as soon as his brother's put in a position where he can fight for the title, I think Patricio would let the title go so his brother could fight for it.
Well, Patricio's already said that he would fight his brother for it.
Dude, he did. That was so funny, man. I asked him, he goes, we fight all the time anyway. I'll fight him.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, I was never blessed with a lot of power, so I'm a little envious of someone who's that short in stature and built like a brick shit house to have as much power as he has. I got to tell you, I'm pretty jealous.
You know what? It's like anything. There's give and take, and no one gets it all. You know, and I look at, you know, what you're talking about, and I totally understand. Yep, you'd like to have that power, that ability, just to one touch and end a fight, but you had the ability in a multitude of ways, and you got to look. You had the things that other guys didn't. You had the ability to carry cardio as a weapon.
Yeah,
that's a lot of people don't have that. You did, so everyone's got their thing. I talk about it all the time.
I've grappled him a couple times, and he's just trying to move like a big, heavy ball, like just so.
Yeah, he's a bag of rice.
Yeah, he's so heavy, man. Like, and he's tight, and his clinch is good. Like everything on you he's got a good hook sweep. He's got good elevators. He's good at getting up to his feet. It's hard to hold down. You know, it's hard to move around just because he can stay in that ball position. He can lift you up and kind of move underneath you. No, he's good, man. Like, he's good. His submission game is good. His movement is real fluid on the ground. I was really surprised, honestly. I thought I was gonna be able to kind of like move and push him around, and nope, absolutely not.
Nope,
absolutely not. No, phenomenal.
That's one of those ones when you think something, it's like, and you go in and all of a sudden the guy's doing something, you're working, you're going, all right, you stop that. That's pretty good. And then you give him something else, and he stops that, and all of a sudden he's giving you a problem. You go, God damn, this guy's a lot better than I thought.
Do you know who else was that person before I actually had ever really heard of him? Was Tim Kennedy. I grappled with Tim Kennedy out at Fort Bragg, out in North Carolina. He was so good. I was like grappling with everybody else. I think I was the Strikeforce champ at the time. We were out there doing a thing for Oak Grove Technologies. We're out there doing an event for the military that he brought us out to do. And Tim was there. We were all in this place grappling and having a good time. There was like probably, I don't know, 20 something people there. And I was rolling up everybody. And I just looked over at Tim. Tim was kind of like the other guy rolling up everyone. I was like, let's get some, let's roll. He's obviously a lot bigger than me, but
yeah,
I was like, I got this guy, whatever. Like, I'm not that I was going to own him or anything, but I was like, he's not going to catch me. He didn't catch me, but he also didn't seem like he was trying to catch me. He was just trying to flow with me, but I couldn't move him. I couldn't move him. I was having a hard time passing his guard. I was just like, okay, he was one of those guys, just was way better than I thought. And then I would say probably like 6 months later, he ended up fighting somebody else that I can't recall who it was, dominated that person. Then he went on to fight my buddy Trevor and beat Trevor.
I will tell you,
then he went on to fight somebody else, beat him. I was like, Jesus.
I did that fight. That was the fight, because I had watched Tim, you know, like when he fought Mayhem Miller a couple of times. And I thought, you know, he's pretty good. He's got some, you know, some things that I'm looking at going, you can exploit this. And then I refereed him against Trevor Prangley.
Yeah.
And he destroyed Trevor.
Yep.
I mean, I don't mean to say that in a bad way to Trevor. It was just like everything that Trevor tried failed. he was always a step behind. Tim was just dominant.
Yep.
And I was like, what? And just in watch, I'm like, God damn, he's good.
Yeah.
You know, and he was just so fucking on point in that fight because I knew how good. You know, I'd refereed Trevor too many times, and Trevor was a stud.
Yeah.
And he just dominated Trevor, and I was like, wow, dude, you know what? You just went up there, in my opinion, in your skill levels.
Yeah, that was one of those fights where Trevor, I think, not taking anything away from Tim, but Trevor kind of was like, he kind of took him a little bit lightly. Like, no, you know, like, yeah, he's good. He's not good he's not that great on the ground. He's not good, doesn't have good wrestling. You know, I think Trevor thought like the ground was going to be his spot. And I had actually already trained with Tim, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together. That was Tim. And so I was like, oh yeah, he's good.
What kind of training partner friend are you, dude?
I just didn't put 2 and 2 together. I mean, that fight happened in like 2009 or something like that. I think that fight happened. 2010. And I had already trained with him.
The Nokia Theater in LA.
Was it? Yeah. And then I had already trained with him in like 2007 or something like that, 2008. So it was like 2 years before that. I hadn't really put 2 and 2 together. But yeah, he was a lot better than I had thought when I had grappled with Tim, you know. And Trevor was pretty slick on the ground as well, whether it was leg lock, whatever it was. I mean, he was pretty slick on the ground as well. He had good sambo, like judo foot sweeps, that type of stuff. But he wasn't able to get a whole lot on Tim. And yeah, it just led into just not a good fight for Trevor and a good fight for Tim. Catapulted him up into the like you were saying. You started thinking like, okay, wow, this guy's really good. Same thing for me when I grappled him. Anthony Pettis, we talked about him on last week. About him. Well,
he was a free agent for a day.
I didn't know if it was a full day.
He knew exactly where he was going, and that's great, man.
Yeah,
good for him.
That's good. I'm glad for him. I'm happy for him. I think it's a perfect fit for him. The reason being is because I think he can fight at 155 or he can fight at 170, and I think he can beat. I don't know if he can win at 170 there of the tournament. I think at 155 he can win the tournament there. I don't know if he can win the tournament at 170 there. You got guys like
I think he should fight at 155. I've said that. That's his weight class, especially if he's, you know what, if he's doing things right and he's dedicated to his craft and he's eating the right way and taking his, you know, making this a profession, which he seems to be doing right now. 155 is his, and he can take that. He could take that title.
Yeah, I think it's going to be it'll be a good. Congratulations to the PFL though for getting him signed. I mean, that's a great signing for them. They needed a little bit of name value in that weight class. I mean, I think the biggest name value they have there is what is it, Chris Wade?
Yeah.
You know, in that division, I think Chris has been in the finals, right? The last 2 shows.
Chris is good. Yeah.
Excuse me, he's tough. I mean, I think Pettis is kind of what they needed in that division for that division to kind of grow. I think it's going to be definitely a good ad for him. As far as, look, I want people to go back to our last show. You guys watched that show, and what we were talking about was people were saying that the UFC released him, and I said what they did was they did not release him. They released him from his contract. He basically asked for his release because they knew that they weren't going to come to terms. People need to understand that there's a 60 or 90 day period after his last fight where they get strictly
the only people that
can negotiate,
that Anthony can negotiate with, is the UFC as a promotion. That's 60 or 90. Usually it's a 90 day.
Yeah. That
during that time he cannot go out and find out his value from the PFL or One or Bellator or whoever he, you know, his management wants to go towards. But by being released, he can immediately go, and that's what happened. And when you say release, he's just released out of that negotiating period. Yeah, his contract was already up.
Yeah, his contract was up. And so when there was like some confusion that we were saying that I don't say he got cut or released. No, the
cut.
Yeah, nothing. Like he wanted out, knowing that he wanted to go and negotiate somewhere else. And I would imagine he had a good idea of where he was going and what he had in mind. Why not go to the PFL? Why not go? And I said this about Rory McDonald as well back in the day when he left Bellator. Look, there was never any ill will towards Rory when he left. Bellator was like, hey, you have an opportunity to go to PFL. You have an opportunity to make $1 million every time you win the tournament. And Rory's got a good chance of winning that tournament every time they have it. The same thing with Anthony Pettis now. It makes sense when you have I feel like you have a skill level that's better than all the other guys that generally are in that tournament. Why not go? When we talk with Lance Palmer, he's like, we were trying to like, hey, it'd be nice to have you over in Bellator. And he's like, I've won the tournament twice. He's like, I'm making millions of dollars. He's like, it's like, why? It doesn't make any sense.
Hold on.
I can't agree.
I was the guy that talked to him. I said, you're crazy to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. And I meant that and I said, Lance, you got to answer me this. How important is your ego?
Yeah.
And it's really what it comes down to. I said, look, I know that you have all of these people out there saying, oh, you've never fought in the UFC and that's what's going to make you, somebody that, people will respect. I go, if you're listening to those people, I said, that's okay. You can do that because that's your ego. Your ego is getting the best of you. I go, does your ego pay your bills? I go, because really in the end, you're making money with every fight and you've won that tournament now twice. You are setting up your family. You're taking care of your wife and your family. Isn't that what you're fighting for? Mm-hmm. And it is, because he's not going to make that money over in the UFC. How long it's going to take you to even come close and what you're going to have to do to get there. I'm not saying that you can't. You have that skill level. There's no doubt about it. But it's going to take you a long time to get yourself up into that pay structure where you can get close to matching that. And what for? Your ego. Stay where you're at. You've got a great thing going. You can win another $1 million next year. Do it.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a baby on the way, I believe also pretty shortly. So yeah, there was no reason. Even when we're not just talking about him going to the UFC. I'm talking about him going to Bellator, him going to
anywhere.
Anywhere you go, I think it would be ill-advised because he's showed that he can win the tournament multiple times. He's beaten the same guy twice in the finals. There's no reason for him to go anywhere else. He potentially win it again. And that's $3 million in 3 years. Plus the money he gets paid per fight. Get the fuck out of here. I'm like, you'd be stupid to come to Bellator, to come to UFC, to go to one, to go anywhere else and think you're going to make that amount of money fighting the level of guys that you're fighting. Just keep doing what you're doing, buddy. Like that's as much as I would love to see him in
absolutely.
In
I think he's a great fighter. He's fun, man.
Yeah, he is fun. I enjoy, and I love him as a person, man. I've hung out with him a couple times out there, and where were we? I think we're in Florida. I hung out with him. Daytona. In Daytona, I was out there to corner Fitch for one of his fights, and hung out with him out there in Daytona. Super good guy, man. Nice guy. Been around him a bunch of times. Yeah, good stuff. I mean, let's Pettis, congratulations. Want to say congratulations. I'm excited to see you. I will now, outside of when Lance fights, I will watch the PFL. So just because you are in there, and I love watching him fight, man. I love watching Pettis fight. Love watching Lance fight. I believe they signed Verdum also. Did they sign someone else? Oh, Rory. I'm gonna watch him also too because I want to see Rory fight as well. As much as I've never really been a big fan of Verdum, so I don't know what it is. It's nothing personal. I've never been a big fan. It's like one of those guys when you see fight, you're like, yeah, okay, and then it kind of just scroll through the channels and stuff. But with Rory, I've always enjoyed watching him fight. Pettis, I've always enjoyed watching him fight, and Lance, I've always. So I mean, that gives me a reason to watch 3 different weight classes now. So it'd be good.
I don't know. I take a look at Verdum and I enjoy watching him because he's a big guy that can fight off his back.
Yeah, that's true.
That is so rare to find a guy that is big and can fight off of his back.
Yeah, because
all heavyweights are good on top. But Verdum's a guy, man. He's dangerous everywhere, and he also, let's be honest. I always go back to the whole thing. Fedor Emelianenko was basically undefeated. I don't count his bullshit loss in Japan off of a cut that happened 18 seconds into the fight that was illegal, and they gave him a loss. He was undefeated in his career. Verdum off of his back, beat him. Yep. And so I'll always enjoy watching Fabricio. He's sometimes he's a little crazy, a little wild, and it gets him in trouble. But man, as far as skill on the ground and watching his technical ability, he's always had that. Yeah, he's phenomenal on the ground, that's for sure. Okay, let's get into this this Ben Askren. Is it Jake Paul or is it Logan Paul? I can't tell the fucking two apart. Jake Paul. I have no idea which one Logan
is which.
is the older, bigger brother. He's fighting Mayweather. I can't believe that we are talking about the Paul brothers. I have reached a new low. I really have, because it's unfucking believable.
Well,
it's like what I really don't get, Josh, is I have friends that are friends with the Paul brothers that are world champion boxers, and they tell me, John, these guys can box, and they're helping them box and stuff, and that's great, and I believe them, and I know it's true. But why is the MMA media writing these guys like what they do and what they say is so important? Because it's not. They're not trying to come into MMA. Yeah. They're trying to pull MMA fighters into a boxing match.
Yeah.
Why are they following this crap?
I think one of them can wrestle, though. Maybe both
of them can wrestle.
Okay.
Well,
I've seen one of them mess around with Cochino, right? What's his name?
Borchina?
Borchina.
Paulo Costa.
Yeah, not Cochino.
Comment section.
I'm
gonna get in trouble for
let
that one.
it go, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna get
I was
in trouble
trying to
for
let
that
it
one.
flow by.
I better hope I never run into Paulo Costa.
Man.
Oh, dude, that just came out. Anyways, yeah, he one of them was wrestling with him.
Logan Paul.
Okay, and
yeah, he was a state wrestler in Ohio.
Nice.
So if you were wrestling in Ohio and you got to the States, you can wrestle.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Jeez, man. I don't even know what to say. Look, the reason why we're bringing this up is because of the Ben Askren stuff towards Scott Coker. I think a little bit of that was mixed in.
Man.
You know, Scott had basically said that Ben would lose to which one? Jake.
To Jake.
Okay.
And he will. I'll go out there and say it. If I was gonna pick who's gonna win that, it's gonna be Jake Paul. He's a better boxer than Ben Askren. And this is where you look and you go, all right, show me the fight that Ben Askren won on his feet. Show me it.
I mean,
go ahead.
That's
like saying, how many fights did you see? I'm going to get myself in trouble here.
Again?
There's so many guys. I don't know. Jake Shields was an incredible fighter, but it was never his stand-up that won it. And I will give Jake Shields' stand-up is better than fucking Ben Askren's.
Yeah.
Okay? Both of them win off of taking the fight to the ground and mauling people on the ground and being technically just superior on the ground. And look, if this was an MMA fight between Ben Askren and Jake Paul, Ben Askren is going to fucking kill him. He will maul him. He will make him his bitch for as long as he wants. But when you don't have the ability to take the fight to the ground, you don't have the ability to clinch to get yourself out of trouble, you don't have all those things that have made you successful in one sport, now that you're just diving into a completely different combat sport, it's different. You are making a huge mistake, and you're also older now. Yeah. It's just not a smart move by Ben. If this was an MMA fight, I said, Ben, take it. If it's just boxing, you're falling into a trap. My dad told me and taught me long ago, hey, if you're stupid enough to fight another man's game, another man's fight, then you deserve to lose.
Yeah.
That was exactly what he told me. I learned a big lesson off of it, because I was that stupid. Yeah. And you're going to learn, man. Don't do it. You're getting set up.
I don't understand what the attraction is for these MMA guys to say this, like to want to fight these guys. Like, why give them any credibility at all? They'd be different, like you said, if they were fighting MMA, or even if it was a a rule, like how I think judo is. Like, if you take him down, you've got 25 seconds to get a submission or something like that. If you don't, they start you back up to your
You can
feet.
work on the ground.
Yeah. I mean, like, if that was the case in this, like, hey, if I take you down, let's make it MMA gloves. And if I take you down, I get 20 seconds once they hit the ground. Like, if you can do something like that, I could say, let's make
even
that
with that,
adjustment.
I'll say Ben Askren wins.
Yeah, I would say for sure Ben Askren wins.
Yeah.
Ben's pretty crafty on the fucking ground.
Oh my God.
He's really damn good.
And
Not
his
just
wrestling
wise, his jiu-jitsu is phenomenal.
Yeah, his jiu-jitsu is freaky good for a guy that he just does things differently.
I thought it was funny when one of the Pauls, I don't even know which one's which and which one's who's talking about what. About Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes was not offered the fight, but what's it called? Dana White had said, yeah, I'd have Amanda Nunes fight you, and he said doesn't know who she is. Bro, you just saved your own life. That's why I think Amanda Nunes beats him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. I mean, at the weight class,
not in boxing.
See, I don't know
in
an
MMA fight, I'll give it to Amanda. But Amanda Nunes is, peaking out, we'll say 150 pounds. Okay, maybe a little bit more.
No, I think more.
Oh, well, no, because she actually goes, so 160. Fucking Jake Paul's a 185-pound guy.
Are they both that big?
Dude, Logan is 210 pounds.
Jesus.
Fucking Jake's at least 190. He'll go down to 180 something.
So which one beat the basketball player?
This guy.
Jake Paul.
Okay, and then the other guy lost to who?
He lost to KSI.
KSI, right?
And,
yeah. Kid from UK?
Yep.
Is he from the UK? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, see, it's all confusing, man.
But he lost because the referee took points from him. And the referee was my friend, so but it was a shit show. You got two guys that are amateur fighters fighting pro, just pushing things over, doing things that are illegal, and it's like, hey, you can't do that. This is you signed on to be a pro, you got to follow the rules. So, it's Logan Paul's a good athlete. There's no doubt about it.
When these kids came from Ohio, was this like their dream to become YouTube stars?
God, who the fuck knows, man? No, obviously they got
this. How did this all come about?
Hey, your boy Brendan Schaub had fucking Logan Paul on his whatchamacallit?
Logan or Jake?
No, Logan. He had him on his what's the one we have, breakfast or whatever?
The taco truck.
Food truck. Food truck.
He had him on that.
Yeah.
You talk about two YouTubers, Brendan and Logan.
Jeez, I don't even know. I don't even know anything about him, man. I just know. I saw one of them can wrestle. He had some good scrambles with Paul Acosta.
That's Logan. But I think Jake Paul also wrestled.
That's Logan right there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. I'm not seeing anything. You've got Gian. I have a blank screen.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell them apart, to be honest.
Oh yeah, you can.
I get maybe if I saw them up close and personal. One has a beard. I think one has clean shaven.
Well, the more beard is Jake. But did you see what Jake did with Connor? No, to Connor. And did you see what he said about Connor's not wife but fiance?
Yeah.
Devlin. Did you see all that?
I didn't see that. No.
Okay. That's the type of stuff that will get you fucked up outside of the ring.
Okay. I'll have to go back and watch. I haven't seen this. I don't know. Look, every time I see his picture on Twitter,
he thinks he's being cute, and he's not understanding the level of what some people will do or go to fuck you up.
Yeah.
Outside of the cage for things that you said.
You know what I've noticed? That neither one of these guys' mouths have ever said anything about Nick and Nate Diaz.
Nate Diaz went after fucking Jake.
Yeah.
He went after and said, hey man, using your mouth like that, someone's gonna slap it shut.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
nothing was said. I don't think he said anything. No response. Very smart on his part.
Yeah. Very smart. He's calculated.
Yeah, because they'll find their way to LA and they'll find.
Oh, fuck yes.
Yeah. They ain't.
That's what you gotta love about the Diaz brothers.
You'll have a Diaz Brothers fan tell you exactly where he is, where Jake and Logan are, and then they will roll up on them.
Oh yeah.
That's why I don't understand. You've got two guys in Nick and Nate that both can box like motherfuckers. You got these two clowns.
But hold on. You see that they're smart enough, and this is the people that are around them, because the people that are around them know, hey, Nate and Nick used to spar with Andre Ward all the time. And Andre has said, hey, those motherfuckers can box. Those guys gave me fits. And so they know, oh, no. You're definitely not going to call out those guys. Yeah. But, you take a look at the money that supposedly, they're putting out and offering people to do it. I can understand why Ben Askren would say, oh, for that kind of money, yeah, I'll do it. But I just don't think it's going to go well for him. It's just not, he's not a stand-up guy. they had talked about Michael Bisping. You know, I think that's a good fight, even though Mike's basically got one eye. Mike could still do well. Mike's got good stand-up. Mike, you know, physically
I think Mike would fuck him up.
Absolutely, I agree
Mike
with
would
you.
fucking
I think Mike would
him.
push a pace on him and put so much pressure on him that he couldn't fucking get by it, and Mike would fucking light him up, even with one eye.
Yeah,
but
there's just no doubt
that fell by the wayside because they're smart about, you know, who they're picking. They're picking guys that are just, they're known by a name because in MMA they made a name based upon being a grappler.
Oh man, jeez,
Craziness.
They're gonna pick the wrong person. Watch, and then it's gonna get to the point where they're gonna pick the wrong person. They're trying to get a fight with Conor, and it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, I know. But you got Logan Paul having a boxing exhibition with Floyd Mayweather. Now, even people around me are saying, "Yeah, but you know, I know, but you know, don't you think maybe you should just like put $50?" I said, he will not touch Floyd.
Yeah.
He won't touch him. He's bigger, he's stronger, and he won't fucking touch him. If Floyd doesn't want him to get hit, Floyd won't get hit. If Floyd wants to come inside,
I'm putting $50 on Logan, bro. I'm sorry. MyBookie.ag, baby. $50. $50 on Logan.
Let me ask you a question. How much money do you have in your account right now?
Zero. I think I have like
That's
68 cents.
Everybody,
68 cents.
Everybody's got a MyBookie account. Do not follow Josh Thompson.
I won a lot. Yeah. I'm putting $50 on Logan just cause. No, the odds have got to be just ridiculous.
Oh,
I can't even imagine. Like, there's just no way that Conor McGregor's gonna fight him. There's no way that I'm surprised that Floyd's even taken this.
I'll tell you what, with the stuff that, you know, Jake Paul said about Conor and his family, I'm not saying that Conor is going to do it, you know, and put any money in his pocket, but I guarantee somewhere along the way, if Conor sees Jake Paul, there will be a fight.
That's awesome.
It'll be instantaneous. Yeah, dude, he will fucking kill him.
I wonder if these guys walk around with security guards.
Of course they do.
They would need to.
Didn't you? Okay, did you not see the damn little exhibition that he did with Dylan Dennis again on here? I'm just Brendan. I'm pumping you up here. Your food truck diaries. That happened during fucking the taping of Brendan's food truck diaries with Dylan Dennis when Jake Paul pulls up in the truck and starts throwing water balloons.
This is just crazy, man. I can't believe we're talking about fucking two YouTubers.
That's what I said. Dude, we have lowered ourselves to a definite.
Well, the reason why we're talking about is the Conor McGregor thing, the Ben Askren talking conversation. Ben Askren, can you pull up Ben Askren's tweet? He basically talked hella shit about Scott Coker, basically saying like, you know, Bellator's for sale. Scott's running into the ground. He's done such a bad job.
Okay,
which is not true, by the way.
Well, no. Let's take a look at this. Everything he said. Okay. First off, is Bellator for sale? I would say yes. Every business is for sale. Every business is for sale. It's just now, have people offered to buy Bellator? Yes, and they've been turned down multiple times by Viacom, who says no, we're not interested.
Yeah.
So every business, even the UFC, it's for sale at a certain price. Yeah. Obviously, you know, when the Fertitas had it, it was for sale for $4.2 billion. Because how many times had Dana White has come out and said, we're not for sale?
Yeah.
Obviously, there comes that point, and I'm not saying he was lying. I'm saying, you know, there comes that point, everything is for sale.
Yeah. Okay,
business-wise. So you have that. Then you have Ben saying that, you know, Scott is doing a shitty job. And that's why, you know, the business is going bad. Well, you know, Ben, you should have been smarter in knowing that Scott just signed another long-term deal with Bellator. So you sound really stupid saying that they think he's doing a shitty job when they just signed into another long-term deal. So, you know, Ben got mad. Okay, but you better come out with at least something that's truthful.
I think Ben, he's very keen. He understands that his stand-up is not good. He also, I think, understands his fight with Jake Paul is kind of not, I wouldn't say just a money grab, But I mean, I think he really thinks he's gonna be able to like walk. Jake down and be able to like try to get in there, make him tired, make him push the pace. I mean, one thing that Ben Askren does have is he has pretty good cardio. He will push the pace on people. He does, but that's in wrestling. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's not the same on the feet, and and I think Ben knows that. I don't know if he's comprehended that yet. This could get nasty by the end of the second or the third round. I don't know how many rounds they're supposed to go. Are they doing this at the Staples Center?
8 rounds.
8 rounds. That's
8 rounds.
By round 4, 5.
Done.
It's
son.
exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. And I'm not saying this Jake or whatever is any good. I'm just simply saying that like, if he's got a lot more experience and training as of lately than you do in just straight boxing, I'm not trying to take anything away from Ben, but this is to me, it just seemed like a money grab.
Yeah.
I just don't know at what level are you willing to take that chance. And I don't know what he's willing to get paid or what he's getting paid or whatever it is, but this is not a good fight for Ben. And I think Scott just said this, what everybody else was thinking, and Ben got upset about it. But
yeah,
I mean, it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Scott is trying to say, look, why don't you guys bring this into the MMA world?
Yeah.
Which makes Scott smart. Why are you allowing someone to pull you out of your combat sport into their combat sport? There's just a big difference. Don't fall for the trap. That's it.
Yeah. I feel like there should be like I would like to see what you remember the Bob Sapp thing. I can't get my glove on.
Oh, dude, that was one of my favorite moments.
There should be one of those. There should be one of those type fights. It doesn't fit.
It's too small.
Yeah, it was the O.J. Simpson thing.
Oh, yeah.
I think what you do is you do something like that. Jake Paul gets, 1 or 2 rounds, and you do 2 rounds of funky wrestling and MMA style. I mean, there's still striking involved. It's not as if like, he still can't be hit. You know what I mean?
So you're saying you want to do the K1,
yes,
Bob Sapp versus Jerome LeBanner. We do 1 round of boxing instead of kickboxing.
Yeah.
And then if it goes to a second round, we're going to switch the gloves and we have an MMA round.
That sounds good to me. Or just 2 rounds of boxing and 2 rounds of MMA.
If they did that, no, if they did, why? No, it's got to go 1-to-1. And if they did that, I would pick Ben Askren. Ben will survive the first round of boxing. And
I think he would survive too.
Fucking maul him.
I think he'd survive
in the MMA.
Rounds. He'd survive 2 rounds.
Kill him in there.
The reason why it's only 2-minute rounds. He'd survive 2 rounds.
I'm just telling you, man.
Yeah.
They're telling me, look, he's pretty fucking good. Obviously, yes, he's new and young at it, but they tell me, hey, he can box.
Interesting. Well, yeah, but I have no interest in seeing them fight anybody else unless it's like Nate Diaz or Nick Diaz. I won't tune in to watch him fight Ben. I won't tune in to watch him fight whoever else he's brought up in names. I would tune in to watch him fight Amanda Nunes though. Because I would love to see her fucking starch. I'm just saying
he's too big.
But even between here's the thing. I have seen Jermaine Duranami knock out a guy. It's on Twitter. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Look that up. You're telling me Amanda Nunes can do it. And that guy was about 170 pounds, 160 pounds.
But that was kickboxing.
No, I think it was boxing only. Look it up.
I think it was boxing. I thought that one was only. Kickboxing. I remember I know which fight you're talking about.
She knocked him out with an overhand right.
I know she did.
Yeah. No, I think it was just boxing only. Yeah, I believe so. My thought is that Amanda can do the same thing. I think I'm just wishful thinking, man. I would love to see Amanda starch this clown. Anyways, I don't have anything against them. I just until you're ready to fight MMA and boxing both back to back in the K1 style thing or whatever it is, but they won't do it. They're, like you said, they have been very smart on who they are calling out. They're calling out the ones they know they're going to lose to, but can bring in a lot of money, the Conor McGregors. And then, which I don't understand, but then they don't want to lose to a Nick and Nate because those guys will legit fuck them up. So will Conor. But they may not get as much money. They may not make as much money off the Nick and Nate fights, but I think that they would. I think that tons and tons of people would tune in for that. Millions of people.
As no matter what anyone wants to say, the Diaz brothers move the needle.
Yep.
You know, whatever people want to say, they have fans everywhere, and they would bring a ton to that matchup.
Yeah.
Either guy. So,
all right. Well, is there anything else, Gian? Any news? What? Yeah, I'm not going to talk about this. Conor McGregor gets moved to the welterweight top 15 because Anthony Pettis is out. Who cares? He's not fighting at 150 and 170
He's fighting at lightweight.
He's fighting at lightweight next, okay? And I think he's going to stay at lightweight. I think Khabib's going to vacate his title here in January. And we're going to move on with the lightweight division. I don't think at 170 he's going to be there. I think it wouldn't make sense for him to stay there. But whatever, man. I mean, he goes where he wants. He makes his own call. He tells Dana what to do, and it just continues to be that way. It will continue to be that way.
Look at you.
Well, it's true. Don't tell me I'm wrong.
I just
true.
said, look at you.
But it's smart for Dana to be that way because that's the cash cow. I mean, he's got to wait until the crowds come back to make more money. Dana wanted to wait for this fight with Dustin Poirier until there was crowds because he's losing $18 to $20 million at the gate because of Conor McGregor. And so because that fight would have Conor McGregor in it, it's true. It's smart for Dana not to want to fight him right now because it costs him a lot of money to have this fight. But I think there was probably a side deal done with the ESPN. Like, hey, if Conor's going to fight, we need to figure a deal out to have him on. So, like, because we're just not going to pay this. And maybe they are going to pay it. Who knows? I mean, but they need to keep him happy, which was smart on their part. Moving forward. Cody Garbrandt, if flyweight title shot not on table, bring on Jose Aldo. That's a tough fight, man. That's a tough fight. I would rather see him fight for the title at 125. I want to see him fight Figueiredo. Figueiredo can crack. The two of them can crack. Figueiredo's head is there to be hit, as we saw in his last fight. He hits a little bit harder. He's a little bit faster than Moreno. But the two of them are going to end up fighting each other coming up next anyways. So Figueiredo and Moreno again. So Cody's got some time he might as well fight someone in the meantime, but then he's got to focus on getting his weight back down. The Jose Aldo fight to me is fun. It's a fun fight.
Against Cody Garbrandt?
Yeah.
I got way better fights for Jose Aldo than Cody Garbrandt.
No, but I'm talking about Cody. We're talking about Cody's fight. Jose Aldo just fought.
I know.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, but if I was going to pick a fight for Jose Aldo coming up, it'd be one of two guys.
Dominic Cruz being one of them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dominic Cruz being one of them. And the second one, TJ Dillashaw. TJ Dillashaw coming off of his hiatus from his suspension, coming back. Oh, that'd be a fun fight.
Look, it would be a fun fight. When someone's coming off of a 2-year suspension?
2 year?
A 2-year suspension for EPO, for cheating. I don't go out there and give him a legend. I'm sorry. I don't do you any favors. I give you somebody like a Rob Font.
Well, Rob Font actually called for that fight.
Yeah,
so
I give you somebody like a Rob Font. I don't give you a Frankie Edgar. I don't give you a Jose Aldo. I give you someone like Rob Font, who's young, had a great performance, tough, is on his way up. But I'm not giving you a big name. I know you're already kind of a name, but you're coming off of a 2-year suspension for cheating. I'm not doing you any favors right now, man. That's how I look at it for your first fight back. You go out there and destroy Rob Font. Okay, let's have this conversation about maybe an Aldo fight or somebody else, maybe a Sanhagen or whoever else up in that mix, But I don't do you any favors for your first fight back. I'm not giving you out. I'm not giving you cookies, I'm not giving you treats because, you got busted cheating. And I love TJ, man. I see him all the time at some of the Bellator events.
I love TJ.
He's a fucking great guy.
He is.
But the bottom line is he cheated. And I hate that fact that he did because he was growing on me, man. He was growing on me as a fighter. I loved watch. I was there. I was sitting cage side at the UFC when he had beat Renan Barão the first time. And just to be around all the guys, all the alpha male guys, when it all happened, the world was shocked that it happened the way that it happened. And then when they fought again, the way he did it again, it was fucking phenomenal. But it just tainted everything that he had done. And so it's sad. I don't, like I said, if I'm the UFC, I'm not doing him any favors. I'm giving him someone like a Rob Font, maybe a Marlon Moraes, but I would say Rob Font just because he's got he just had such a good performance, and he's ranked in the top 5 now, and I think he's ready for that next, and that would be a fun. Tell me that wouldn't be a fun fight. That'd be a fun fight.
That'd be a good fight.
So that's just me, and I got a lot of respect for TJ. I love watching him fight. It just if I'm a promoter, I'm not doing him any favors.
So now what do you think of my Jose Aldo versus Dominic Cruz?
100%. Love
See,
that
that's
fight.
what I think.
Love
That's
that fight.
That would be so much fun.
Yeah. The other fight I'd like to see is maybe the Frankie Edgar and Dominic Cruz.
Yeah, that would be good. I don't want to see Frankie and Jose. I've seen it too many times.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't want to see that either. Yeah, I want to see that out. I wouldn't mind, like, you and I talked about this probably like 2-3 months ago. It was the Dominic Cruz Aldo fight. Yeah, definitely would like to see that fight. But I think you give TJ Rob Font now that he's made his way up. Frankie Edgar's fighting Sandhagen next, I think, to see who gets the title shot after that. Cody Garbrandt is going to probably fight the winner of Moreno and Figueiredo for the title, and unless he tries to get a fight in the middle of there somewhere. I don't know who or what, but that's kind of where they're at right now in that division. Marlon Moraes has dropped quite a bit in the last couple fights, so he's got to get some kinks worked out and figured out. I think when people go to new camps, they need to spend more time before they take a big fight, before they take a fight. And it's hard not to take a big fight when you're ranked number 2 or 3. So you're gonna be stuck fighting one of the top guys every time. But when you move camps, it's hard to get adjusted. You're trying to get adjusted to the new life because you live there now. He's got his wife, family and stuff there, trying to get adjusted for them to get adjusted. It takes time. You have to take 6 to 8 months probably getting yourself adjusted to the program in which you're training all the time. You're taking care of your family. You're getting used to the new lifestyle. All those things come into play. And then moving there during this whole COVID situation, probably not a good situation. So I don't think his last 2 fights are a good reflection of him as a fighter. I think he'll be back, but it's going to take him a little bit of time.
Yeah, he's just got to regroup.
Any other news?
Colby Covington is on a media run right now. He's applying pressure on Jorge Masvidal.
I mean, Colby's...
That would be Colby.
Yeah. I mean, Colby's got a decent sized name, but he's no George Masvidal. And I like Colby. I like watching him fight. I would love to see that fight happen.
I think Colby's every bit George Masvidal in name, stature.
You think so?
Yeah.
I disagree.
Okay, how can you say that? When you take a look,
the words just come out of my mouth when I say it.
Yeah, but you're not thinking about him. You can take George Masvidal has had a long career. He's a super tough dude. Everyone in this sport knows how good he is, but he's always had that. He fights this guy, gets a win, fights this guy, and then gets a loss. And he's had those. And even Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who beat him, is coming out saying, hey, that would be a good rematch, which is kind of weird since you got to, win against him. But he's got a good name now. But still, if you're looking, Colby Covington was the interim champ. Mm-hmm. George Masvidal's never been the interim champ. So Colby Covington is a guy that they both lost to Kamaru Usman. Colby Covington had the better fight against Kamaru, no doubt about it. Yeah. So overall, I think Colby, he has absolutely as much value as Masvidal in this situation.
You're talking.
It's just a matter of them matching up and being okay with the money.
Okay, so wait, so you're saying I'm trying to get this. You think that Colby Covington has as much value in terms of if we were to say, hey, this is the name on a pay-per-view, that he would sell as many pay-per-views as George Masvidal?
All dependent upon who you're matching him with, yes.
So, okay, so I disagree. I think George Masvidal is the name in the Colby Covington fight. And
you're saying he's the A side.
Yeah, he's the A side. He's the red glove. He's the red glove.
He's the red glove. Okay, the A side. But take a look. If you freaking put Colby Covington against, we're going to go Wonderboy Thompson. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that a good fight? Yeah. It really is. Yeah. It's a good matchup. That would be a fun fight. So if you look at both of those guys, Wonderboy Thompson and Colby Covington, who's the A side? Come on.
No, okay, so I would say Colby is. Are we
You're
talking?
going to say Colby?
Yeah.
Colby's the A side.
Colby's
okay,
the A side.
so then we'll take George Masvidal and Wonderboy Thompson. Who's the A side?
Wonderboy Thompson. George is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're saying George is?
Yes.
Okay. So now if they're both the A side there, then that means they're fairly equitable.
Yeah.
Now that you're going to put them both against each other.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. It's both.
I understand what you're saying. Okay, I do understand what you're saying, but I'm saying when it comes down to who's actually going to bring in more money, it would be George. George is the guy that's going to bring more money in.
Maybe.
Don't get me wrong. Colby Covington has now become Floyd Mayweather. People pay to watch him lose.
Okay,
that's
I agree
how much
with you.
they hate him. Okay,
I like him.
That's the. I don't mind him at all. I don't mind him at all. I'm like, I don't have an
He's
issue
a
with
good
him.
fighter,
I
man.
think he's a great fighter. I think he's really good. Outside of Usman, who's the only one that I think can beat him, I don't know if George can. I would like to see a really good fight. George has got a lot of ability to beat him. He can beat him anywhere on the ground. He could beat him on the feet. He has all those. He has everything he needs to beat him. I just don't know if he can. I don't know.
I think he has the tools
yes
required to beat him, no doubt about it.
But
he has the skill set.
What he doesn't have is conditioning in the fourth and the fifth.
Oh, let me tell you, I think it's the pace that Colby Covington will bring that will create the problems that Masvidal would have to deal with.
Yeah.
First round, I go with George Masvidal.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to say, hey, this fight ends in the first round, George Masvidal won it.
Mm-hmm.
Just second round, probably George Masvidal wins it.
George.
You get into the third round, I'm going to start going, Colby Covington wins it.
Yeah.
Fourth round, Colby Covington.
Yeah.
So, that's what makes an intriguing fight when you have that whole atmosphere of, man, the fight changes based upon time, because you don't have to win every minute of the fight. You just have to win those sections that gets you where you need to be, and that's Colby's smart enough to know that. So is George, and George will know what he needs to do early to get in on him, because they've trained together a lot. They know each other.
What did you think? Colby had said some stuff about Dustin Poirier. He said Conor's going to get rid of that weasel or whatever in the first. Like, come on, man. Like, you left.
It's weak.
You left ATT. Like, let's just squash it all. Let's
let it go.
But I guess it's marketability. It's kind of what you're seeing right now with what you see with Dylan Dennis, and you see with Jake Paul, and you see with Ben Askren talking about Coker. It keeps them live in the media. It's true. It keeps you live in the media. It keeps you going. And as long as you're active on Twitter, it keeps your name relevant in other people's mouths. And so I think it makes sense. Colby Covington predicts Conor McGregor will beat washed up Dustin Poirier. I think Conor does beat him, but I think it's gonna be a tougher fight than people think.
So do I.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a tougher fight than people think. So
I agree with you all the way across the board. I think Dustin can definitely win the fight. He just has to have that moment. But if it goes the way that I would think that it's going to go, eventually Conor's going to get him.
What I think is that in the first fight, Dustin let him get into his head. In this fight, you can tell by the way that they've been in social media, they've been respectful to each other. How this all came about was Conor McGregor saying he would fight him for a charity event.
Hold on. Come on. Be honest. How did it all come about? It all came about because Conor couldn't get a fight.
Yeah.
Based upon exactly what you were saying earlier, that the UFC didn't really want to have him in a fight because they couldn't sell tickets and they were going to lose money as far as all of that gate and everything. And then it was Conor saying, you know what? You've got a charity, don't you, Dustin? We'll put on a fight. We'll just do it for charity. You got to look and you go, Conor, my hat's off to you. Yeah. Very nice play, because Conor made them give him the fight.
I think it's great.
He really did. Yeah, it was great.
And Dustin was the winner of that sweepstakes, of that
Good
red
for
panty
him, man.
I'm glad. I'm happy for him, man. He deserves it. He's been I don't want to call him a company guy, but he's been someone that's towed the line. He's made sure,
been a company guy,
he's been someone that just done everything he possibly can to make sure that the company's taken care of. He's fought the best fights he possibly could. He always comes to fight. I don't
He
recall
always
him.
represents himself beautifully.
Yeah, I don't recall him ever turning fights down. I mean,
No.
it didn't make sense. I mean, like,
No.
you know, I think every fighter, I think, respectively, has turned fights down. Like, if you call me on a week's notice, 2 weeks notice, like, yeah, I'm not willing to take that fight for a week or two to not ruin my career, but have me drop in the rankings because of it. So, I mean, I don't recall him ever doing that. Maybe there was, but maybe someone else can refresh my memory. But
nope.
Yeah. As far as Colby goes, I mean, move on, bro. Like, I don't know if George is looking for the big. I think this could be a big money fight. It could be. It could be a big money fight. But another fight with Nate
it could be for him.
I think it could be as well. But I think another fight with Nate would be more of a big money fight. Just the name value itself to me, like you said a second ago, they move the needle. Diaz Brothers. I would like to see George and Nick. If Nick's gonna fight again, I want to see George and Nick, not George and Nick.
Okay, see, to me, that is the fight that he can make more money at.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the fight that you look and you go, I don't think he'll make as much money fighting Nate as he would fighting Colby.
Yeah.
But I think he'll make more money fighting Nick than either one of them.
That to me makes perfect sense. That fight makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah.
All right, what else? Is that it?
Khamzat Chimaev sends warning to Conor McGregor.
Jesus, to Conor McGregor.
Said if he ever sees him in the island, there will be something, and UFC needs to hide it.
Oh, jeez.
Whatever that means.
Chimaev's got Leon Edwards to worry about. Everyone keeps sending me video clips of, I guess, Chimaev knocked out someone's filling in training, and maybe the filling was loose. Calm down.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see him fight, though, against Leon. That should be a good fight. Hey, I'm hearing that the Dan Hooker and Michael Chandler fight is a 3-round fight. If that is the case, I'm going Michael Chandler because they're on the undercard, not undercard. They're the co-main event for the Conor fight.
Really?
That's what I'm hearing. If that
was a technical miscue by Dan Hooker's
yes,
people.
it was. Yep.
This is one you want it to be 5 rounds.
I think Chandler wins now for sure.
Yeah.
Outside of getting clipped, which he could, but
sure.
I think Michael Chandler wins. People are gonna murder us for that, and
that's okay.
And
I've watched both guys enough to know the difference.
Yeah, all of you guys should know I am not a Michael Chandler fan.
Not at all.
Okay, and so the fact
you
that
are not. I am.
The fact that I am saying this, that lets you know that he is good. Like, he really is good. He's very talented.
Fucking really
he's
good.
Explosive. He's fast. I've trained for him.
He's powerful. He's got power in his hands.
I had 3 camps training for him. I did plenty of research on him. He's good. And don't get me wrong, Dan Hooker's phenomenal as well.
Yes.
But he does not have the speed and the wrestling to stop Michael Chandler.
He doesn't have the physical strength to stop the wrestling of Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
If Michael Chandler's smart and uses his wrestling the way that he can, it'll be a long 3 rounds.
Yeah. And once that fight hits the ground, people are going to realize how physically strong Michael Chandler is when he gets on top of people and just mauls them. Like, just nasty ground and pound. He's quick on the neck. He's quick.
Hooker will be able to get up a couple times.
Yeah,
he'll be able to get up a couple times because he'll have to use a lot of energy to do it.
Can he get up though without giving up his neck?
I didn't say anything about that.
Yeah, that's like, to me, it's not even so much the ground and pound and being able to get back up. It's the way of getting up, and does he expose his neck? Chandler's good at getting to the back, and Chandler's good at jumping on that guillotine.
Yep.
He's nasty. He's good at pushing the hips in against you, keeping you against the fence, and attacking the neck so you go back down to the ground. That's kind of how he tries to establish that top position. When you go to get up, he jumps on the neck. You go back down and try and get your head free. He goes back to ground and pound. You go to get up, he jumps back on the neck. You know, he's good at what he does. He's got his little routine of what he does. He cycles it through. You start to get back up. He attacks certain positions that puts yourself back on the ground. He knows what he's doing.
Plus, if you're that guy who does tend to turn your back to get away from him, and he is in that stand-up, and he's got his hands wrapped around your body, stand by.
Yeah.
You're going for a ride. There's an e-ticket coupon, man, that you're going to be pulling out because he's going to be suplexing you on your head.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to let it be known, especially in a 3-round fight.
Yep.
The fatigue is not, the concern is not there.
Not at all.
Should make for a fun fight. Okay, so we have Q&A now. Are you ready? Questions?
Yes. Yep.
All right, full disclosure, the first 3 questions is personally picked by Podcast Day. With that being said, first question.
Whoa! Full disclosure. Now you're starting to scare me.
Hey, wait! Before we start our Q&A, let's go to mybookie.ag or mybookie.com. Use the promo code weighing in, and they will give you 50% of your initial first deposit of up to $1,000. So if you deposit $1,000, they will give you another $500 on your first initial deposit to bet.
$500 free.
$500 free, baby.
God, you gotta love that.
Spend at least 50 of that betting on Logan Paul or whoever, Jake Paul against Floyd Mayweather. Do it,
Thank
do
God. Yeah, I guess if you're spending your the free part, maybe you can do it.
Yeah, just $50. Just $50.
You think my bookie's gonna have odds on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had odds on Senate races and shit. No one gives a fuck about that shit. Like they had odds on Senate races. They had odds on it was just ridiculous. They had odds on district court races and shit. It was crazy. All right, give me the questions.
First question is from your daddy, Brock Lesnar versus.
I don't even want to know this one
Your
now.
daddy.
Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley in MMA. Who wins and why?
Ooh,
That would be a fun fight.
it would.
Bobby Lashley is the better wrestler.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Hands down.
Bobby, no. Really? Hold on. What did Bobby Lashley win in wrestling? NAIA?
Man, Bobby Lashley actually was like on the Olympic ladder for wrestling.
No.
Yes.
No.
That's when I met Bobby.
No,
Bobby was ranked
no.
number 4 on the Olympic ladder.
I know exactly where he was at, but he won NAIA, and you're looking at Brock was a dominant heavyweight. Bobby wasn't even wrestling heavyweight.
Bobby would beat him.
No. Negative. Negative on that one.
Not in MMA. I got Bobby Lashley. Bobby's my boy. This is me being a homer. Bobby's my boy, though. Bobby Lashley's my boy.
I love Bobby. He's a great guy.
Don't preface this but. Don't go with but.
I really look at it. I think in a fight, I think it would come down to who's better on their feet.
Yeah.
You know, and that's in the end, Bobby was actually getting pretty good on his feet. He was a lot more comfortable. He wasn't straining as much. And wasn't that he was tense like in the beginning when he was first fighting. Brock has to be explosive and stuff. I don't know. That would be a good matchup. I don't think it would come down to the wrestling. The guy who ended up with the takedown and being on top one time is the guy that's going to win the fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly believe, as much as Bobby's my boy, I'd probably in an MMA fight, I'd probably lean towards Brock. But I think
look at you turn.
I know, but Bobby's my boy, man. I'd be cheering for Bobby for sure. Next one. No, and this, you know why this was fucking picked? Because WWE bullshit. That's why Podcast Dave picked
Podcast Dave.
Next one is from Shambi0320. What's the oddest injury you ever seen or heard on why someone needed to pull out of a fight?
Oddest injury? I don't know, man.
It's like an excuse to pull out of a fight.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know.
That's a rough one.
Yeah, I'd have to spend more time thinking about that. Yeah, you got me.
It's a lot of dead air right there.
Yeah, I mean, well, everyone kind of bangs up their feet, hurt their knees, but oddest injury. Oh, shit, I don't even know, man.
Just say you have COVID.
No, yeah. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I can't think. I mean, everyone, like, you get banged up fingers. You know, I've had guys fight with broken toes. I've Rockhold, I think. I think he fought with a broken toe. You know, Luke didn't pull out, but at the Chris Weidman fight, he had gout in his ankle. He had to take antibiotics that week. Yeah,
that's why he was having problems.
Yeah, he was fucking exhausted, gassed out after the first round. He was so fucking tired. Yep. Yeah, and I know he was in shape, man. He was in phenomenal shape for that fight, but then the week of, he ended up getting like gout in his ankle, and that was it, man. He was on antibiotics all week. Showed in the fight. Other than that, I mean, he still fought though. He didn't pull out. So, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Nothing, John?
No, nothing I can think of that would be, above average.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Next one.
Our next one is from Kieran Welsh. Why is Askren fighting Jake Paul? He's going to get knocked out in the first round.
Yeah,
I think we covered this.
we covered that. We don't know, man. I think it's a big money grab. I think it's maybe Ben thinks he can beat him. I don't know. I don't know, man.
I do think Ben thinks he can beat him. But he's not being honest about his skill set and where he was good, and he's not taking into account the actual skill set of the person he's going to be fighting. Yeah. That could lead to a bad situation, but we'll see.
I guess we'll see. What's that? March, September, or it's in March?
March.
It's Staples Center.
Supposedly.
Jeez. All right.
All right. Next one is from JPW328. What is your favorite MMA event of all time?
My favorite MMA event of all time. It's got to go back to the Pride days, man. I used to love watching all the old Pride. Just to be honest, man, the old Pride days. I remember we never really gathered to really watch the UFC. Everyone was kind of like, yeah, the UFC's on, and they kind of like, 2 or 3 people would come and watch it. Pride was like, we're watching the Pride fights, man. Everyone's coming over to someone's house and bring food and drinks. It was a huge event to watch the Pride fights. Everyone loved it. It was just, to me, it was all the Pride shows. The Pride shows were awesome. Just
which one?
All of them, man. There's not one event. They were all really good. They were fun.
I will say that the production at Pride was something you had to actually be at to understand.
Mm-hmm.
It was incredible. It was. Well, I'm not saying being, but it was the production inside the arena, and then they had the one show that had 91,000 people at it. Yeah. They had some just immense shows. They were fun. Let's see. I will tell you that I thought the one that I loved. There was one moment. I thought UFC 40 was a big one, as far as I thought there. It was the changing of the time when I looked at and said, ever since UFC 1, I was concerned that it was going to end. Yeah. But when UFC 40 happened, I was like, it's going to make it. The sport's going to make it. Yeah. And which was, for me, it was, people don't know that, hey, I was in court fighting for the sport too many times. I was in Senate hearings, state Senate hearings, not U.S. Federal government, state Senate hearings explaining the sport to people. I was going to representatives, chambers or their offices to explain the sport to them over just all these times. And it was like, man, everyone's trying to kill it. These guys, they want to kill the sport. And it was always that question of, man, how much longer, until one of these guys comes up with something that they're able to, drive the nail into the heart of the sport. But it was UFC 40 that told me, it ain't going to happen. This is going to make it. And then the UFC that happened in Toronto, Canada, it was the first major show in Toronto. I did the very first show in Toronto that they did just before the UFC, which was UFC 129, which was St. Pierre versus Jake Shields. And, that was 55,000 people in the Sky Dome. And with that show, there was Mark Hominick and Jose Aldo was the co-main event. And I asked for that fight, and they gave it to me. I didn't want to do the St. Pierre Shields. I'd done Jake's last 4 fights, I think. I said, I would much rather, if you can give me the Aldo Hominick, I'd really like to do that fight. And there was, they did a lot of screens up and around the arena and stuff. But when Mark Hominick was walking out, they put up this, Canadian flag with snow coming down. And it was P. Diddy had that song Coming Home with Skylar Grey and stuff. I'm coming home.
Yeah.
And it was Mark Hominick's first time fighting in his home, for the UFC like that. It was just fucking cool.
Yeah.
I remember I was standing inside of the octagon looking at 55,000 people and watching Mark Hominick walk out because he's walking out first. And I was like, God damn, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And so that was a really cool moment for me. I really enjoyed that show.
I mean, I can go into all the events that I was actually in. Like I was in the Pride and we fought in Nagoya. When we fought in Nagoya, there was 43,000 people there. They had the fire behind the rain. So it was like, and you're standing right in front of the rain. The rain is actually falling straight down and hitting it's going into like a trough kind of thing. And like, you can feel the water bouncing out of there. You got a little bit of a mist every time. It's kind of like over your shoulder and the fire's lighting up behind it. And like, you can feel the heat as well as the wet. I mean, those are events that I was part of, but in terms of like, those to me will be always kind of like my favorite events. But the ones that I look back on the Pride ones is like when Fedor fought Mirko, just all the anticipation that led up to that. Him and Kevin Randleman, when Randleman fucking picked him up and slammed him on his head. Like, you know, the several times that Vanderlei and Rampage fought, just all the lead up to those fights, people talked. This show had never really been to the US at the time. You guys got to remember that. Like it came what, twice, but it hadn't come yet. It hadn't come yet when everyone was gathering around trying to watch these fights. Pride had never come to the States yet, and then they finally came to the Cox Pavilion, right, or whatever it was.
No, it was Thomas and Mack. Sorry, but I say Cox. Cox Pavilion. That's where they did the first Ultimate Fighter show that Bonner and
God, okay,
Forrest Griffin.
Okay, yeah. Thomas and Mack is where it was at UNLV, correct? UNLV. So yeah, that's where they had the first Pride event there, and I was there at that event. Phil Baroni fought there. He fought the boxing Japanese guy. Phil took him down and Kimura him. Anyways, it was just there's a lot of good events that I recall, but like the ones that had the aura about them were the ones like the Mirko and the Fedor.
Talk about the production the first one in Vegas at the Thomas and Mack when Fedor was going to fight Mark Coleman. And when Fedor walked out, they actually had snow coming down from the sea. It was actual real snow. Wow. You know, it was like shaved ice. It was snow coming down. It was like they didn't, just do like waxy stuff or anything. Yeah. It was actually real. Jeez. Because they were, talking about, he was the last emperor and he was just cold as ice and stuff. Yeah. It was really cool.
Well, remember what fight was that? It was Robbie Lawler fought Joey Villasenor, I believe.
Yeah.
Knocked him out with a flying knee or a kick or something like that. There was
Vitor Belfort fought
Vanderlei and Dan Henderson fought.
Henderson.
Vitor Belfort fought. No, Vanderlei and Dan Henderson fought
the second one.
Yes.
They were the main event of the second one.
Yes. So that was the second one. Okay, yeah. So anyways, I mean, there was a lot of good events that people just, I think over time we have forgot. I was at UFC 40. It was called Vendetta. That was Tito Ortiz, and I was there at that fight. Yep. Yeah, I hadn't fought yet. I had signed with the UFC before UFC 32. I got in some trouble and had to go away for a while and came back. And when I came back, it was like one of the first fights I was supposed to fight at UFC 37 and a half. And I got injured, and then UFC 40 came, and then I went to that show, and then I fought, 4 shows later. But it was that to me was a phenomenal show as well. That was one of those, like you said, that to me was the show that made me feel like the sport was going to make it.
That was
UFC 40.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Our next question is from, let me see, Aces Wild MMA. Do you have any doubts that Magomedov will be Bellator champion in 2021?
Do I have any doubts?
Yep.
I don't have any doubts, but it won't be easy. I don't think it is be. Yeah. I don't have any doubts, but it won't be easy. There'll be some guys in there. I think guys like Patchy Mix will give him a hard time.
There's guys in there that are going to give him a hard time.
Yeah. But I think he's got a good chance of being
Well,
champion.
does he have the skill set to be, to get that title? Sure he does. He's an outstanding fighter, but he's got a lot of tough competition, and there's guys that are going to give him problems. And people aren't even thinking of some of them. Sergio Pettis. Sergio Pettis is going to give him some problems because he's not easy, as far as to zero in on Sergio and take him down and keep him down. No doubt in my mind that Magomed can do it. I don't know if he can do it continuously without getting touched up, because Sergio and Peter Yan are kind of similar in some ways as far as movement. I think Peter Yan has more power, So that's a big equation in it. But Sergio Pettis is going to give him some problems. The champion in Juan Archuleta, lots of movement, lots of anti-wrestling. Juan Archuleta comes from a very good wrestling background. He can wrestle, so all he's got to do is stop some of those wrestling takedowns and just start touching people. Anything can happen. But there's no doubt that Magomed has the skill set that he could be the champion.
I think the only guy that gives him a hard time is Patchy Mix.
You think Patchy is, huh?
Yep. I think, especially within the first 3 rounds. And I think Patchy's going to make a lot of adjustments after his loss to Juan because he was dominating that fight and he just got tired. I think that he's going to make some adjustments coming into his next couple.
Do you think that was the difference in that fight? He got tired?
Yep.
I don't look at it that way. I think he got frustrated and didn't fight smart towards the end of the fight. He was following and he was doing things that you look and you go, just be relaxed.
I think that all came from him. That all stemmed from him being tired. He couldn't get the takedowns anymore, and that frustration sets in because you can't do what you normally do because you're tired. Now, I'm not saying that he was exhausted to the point where he could. It just the energy wasn't there. He didn't want to put the energy out because if you put too much, there's that. Here, let me break this down. And I know you know already. Is that when you know that there's still 2 rounds left, do I go so hard? And if I don't get this takedown, now I'm exhausted for the next 2 minutes. That could cost me getting finished. Fighters start looking in those terms as they're in there. Like,
sure,
God, I don't want to waste too much energy. Okay, I'd rather just be out here standing on my feet, having a little bit of control over what's going on, not being so tired where I can't even defend myself. And I think Patchy ran into that problem somewhere around the 3rd round. He just couldn't get the takedown anymore. Once you realize you couldn't get the takedown anymore, it's like, shit. You're stuck standing. The frustration's there. He was hoping that Juan would make a mistake, and Juan never made a mistake. I think that Patchy will make the difference. He'll make some changes going in with his conditioning, and he'll be a better fighter because of it. I think so.
Yeah.
Next one.
Next one is from Sin City Digital Evidence. If the world was ending and you could only choose one last MMA fight to watch, what fight would you want to see?
The world was ending. As much as I love MMA, I don't think that would be the first thing on my mind.
Yeah. You know what? I can tell you. Go ahead. John.
Go ahead. No.
Mine's the best. Mine's the best. So you go right ahead. My fight's the best.
Oh my God. Let's see. If the world was ending and I could pick one fight that I could see, I think I would do one. It'd be simple. I would be doing a cross promotional lines fight. I want to see someone like I want to see Volkanovski against Ferrer. I want to see Pitbull and Volkanovski. That's what I would want to see.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it? That's all you got? Jeez,
That's
man.
all I got, baby.
Mine is Dana fucking White and Big John. Dana fucking White and Big John.
That's a good one.
That would be my fucking fight. And you know who the co-main event would be?
Who?
Be fucking Chin and fucking Podcast Dave.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be the fucking fight.
Freedom!
I would love to see Chin and fucking Podcast Dave get after it. Those would be my 2 fights. I wouldn't need any more. It'd be like boxing, just 2 fucking good fights, and that's it. And a bunch of fucking no-name undercard people. Fucking Gian and the Butler fucking fighting. Next one.
Next one is from JPW328 again. Besides the downward elbows, what was the worst rule change to modern MMA?
Well, let's go, Josh. Let's see. What is the worst rule changes to modern?
To modern worst rule changes? Like it would just be like when they try to go from like 1 hand to 2 hands to no, like when they kept swapping it back and forth, right? It was like you had to have 2 hands down.
Fighter.
Yeah, grounded fighter. Like it's been the biggest clusterfuck that's been going on. I would say that's it. Like the downward elbow thing. It's a little frustrating sometimes when you're in the position, you know, you could downward elbow them, but it is what it is. Whatever.
It's a silly rule. I don't know. I would tell you that the biggest thing that's caused a problem in the sport is, I think, exactly what Josh is saying, the down fighter and what it is, because there's so many variations to it. I think the last time we checked, there's 7 different variations from state to state, province to province in North America with what is considered a grounded fighter. That's ridiculous. The NFL doesn't change its rules when it goes from Chicago to LA or LA to New York or Texas. It's always the same, and it's got to be the same way for MMA. So I would say the grounded fighter rule is the thing that's caused the most problems. I don't know if it's, the worst thing overall as far as for the sport, but it's caused the most problems.
Next one.
Next one is from Felipe Gutierrez. Big John, what was going through your mind when you were refereeing Kimbo versus Dada 5000?
Honest to God, the first thing going through my mind is I'm going to kill these guys. Because when I'm saying that, they were both exhausted, and I'm breaking them apart to try to get a fight actually moving because they're exhausted and they can't fight. And I knew that Dada had lost a lot of weight to make the 265-pound limit for heavyweight. I knew he had lost a lot of weight. They had told me that, and that concerned me because when you lose that much weight and there's bad things that happen, and they did happen, but it was, I'm supposed to be there to let the fight happen and to follow the rules. I can tell you there's 2 times in my entire career that I ever stood a fighter up out of mount. 2 times. And we're talking thousands and thousands of fights. The first time was Jeremy Horn against Frank Shamrock. I think it was UFC 17. And it was, Jeremy gets mount and he bases out, and Frank is just, he's got both hands clasped around and he's just holding on, keeping himself kind of safe. And Jeremy's not doing anything. Finally, I say, Jeremy, you got to do something, right? Right. And he would take a hand and he'd move it kind of in the, and he put it right back out to basing out, right? But, I finally tell him, Jeremy, you've got to do something. I'm going to stand you up, right? And I say it multiple times, and finally I stand him up. And eventually it wasn't right then, but a little bit later, they fall into a position off of a takedown, and Frank gets a knee bar and ends the fight. And I felt horrible as far as taking Jeremy out of the position, but I had to do it for what, the promotion wanted at the time to keep the fight going and stuff. I went in the back and I asked him, I said, man, dude, did you not hear me? And Jeremy was great. He goes, oh yeah, John, I heard every word you said. I go, what in the world were you thinking? He goes, honestly, I'm thinking, I am mounted on top of Frank Shamrock and I don't want him to do anything to me. I was like, okay. Well, the second time that I took someone out of mount was Kimbo Slice, because he's on top of Dada and he can't do anything. He's just laying there, not doing anything. And I had to take him out of it to try to get the fight going, and it was 2 guys that, obviously they had a lot of heart, and, Kimbo could fight, but he was exhausted. And he also had, later we learned, medical problems that would cause him to be exhausted in that. But I came close to killing both of those guys in that fight by pushing the pace on them. So
next one.
All right, next one is from Josh's Instagram feed. This guy, John the Conqueror, says, would Josh come out of retirement to fight Paul Felder in the first UFC Bellator cross-promotion event?
Absolutely not. Why the fuck would I want to get my ass kicked by fucking Paul Felder? Why the fuck
would I want to fight a guy that hits as hard as Paul Felder, kicks as hard as Paul Felder, and is as fast as Paul Felder? Because he looked really fast in his last fight.
Did you not see what he did to fucking Dos Anjos till he got tired? Get the fuck out of here. I don't want to fight that guy ever. You know what's funny is how the fuck do all these, even when I was with Striker, everyone wanted me to fucking fight strikers. Was I a striker at some point in my career? I always considered myself more of like a wrestler / grappler. No, man. Like when I was with Strikeforce, they wanted me to fight Cerrone, wanted me to fight Pettis, wanted me to fight. I was like, God. And then now Paul Felder, get the hell out of here, man. These guys are killers. No, I'm 43 or whatever, 43 years old. I don't want to fight these guys. No, I'm not coming out of retirement. Fuck no. I'm not Ben Askren, man. I'm not fighting these guys. No way.
A man's got to know his limitations, and I've done mine. I'm
done, dude. I lived my life. I had a good career. I'm happy with where I'm at, man.
That's it.
Next one.
See, you're getting smarter all the time. That's what I love about you.
Hanging out with you.
Look at the big brain on you, Josh.
Yeah.
All right, next one is from Mong Shi Lee. John and Josh, with the Bellator signing Yoel and Rumble at 205, how does that shake up the division? And do you see either fighter being a title contender by the late 2021?
I think
yeah.
I think they're all going to be title contenders. I really believe at some point, probably that they're either going to do a 135-pound Grand Prix or a 205 or 205. But I think you would
go one of the two.
You would go 205 first because Yoel's 44. Okay, Anthony Johnson's 36. You know, Corey Anderson's a new signee. You've got plenty of hype and around it. We've done the lighter weight class title tournaments now. Let's go right into the heavy guys. We did the heavyweight. Now we did the lighter one, and now we're going back to the light heavyweight. It makes sense, man.
You did heavyweight, you did welterweight, then you went down to featherweight.
That's
right.
So
go back up. I could definitely see it. No matter what, and I do not know if Bellator is going to do a light heavyweight tournament, but somehow I see the signing of both of those guys, Rumble and Yoel. That's a fight people want to see.
Yeah.
Be it they were both in the UFC and now they're both in Bellator. People want to see that fight. I think that's a fight that Bellator makes. Now, I am not Rich Chow and I am not Mike Hogan. They could look at me and go, "You're a fucking idiot, John." But I just see that that's a fight that people are interested in, and it would be a fun fight. So
yeah,
I could see them matching them up right away.
We also signed two really tough Russians. One being a former champion.
One's a former champion with ACA, and the other's a former champion at M1.
Yeah,
both of them can fight. I've seen them both. They're both good, man.
Yeah. When you guys figure out how to say their names, send me the recording. Send me the recording, please. Okay.
This is what you need Michael C. Williams for.
I'm gonna feed that right into my earpieces. I'm calling these fights. Jeez, I'm not. I'm gonna wait for them. I'm gonna wait to find out what their nicknames are because that's all I'm gonna call them by. It's gonna be fun.
Next one is from Dylan Roger. How are referees and judges held accountable when they make mistakes such as late stoppages and bad decisions?
John, that's your.
Oh yeah, I was gonna let you talk.
All right. I mean, how are they held accountable? I have zero idea.
Here's the thing for you to think about. Are referees and judges going to make mistakes? Yes, they're human. They're going to make mistakes. You have to take a look at the mistake they made and figure out how did it happen? And is that something that is, most people are going to make a mistake in that same situation. So when you say, how are they held accountable? They're held accountable by the fact that when you have the fights, everything goes on. When the fights are over, the commission usually has a meeting in the back. And in that meeting, they start to go over all the things that they look at that went bad. If there was something judging they didn't like, they think that the judging was wrong in a fight. They think the judging was off. They're going to go over it. With referees, they're going to do the same thing as far as, all right, let's talk about why did you do this, in this fight? And they're going to have that referee explain at least, what they saw and what they were thinking at that time. Now you have the other referees there, and that's a time that we look at as a learning moment because you can get input from the other referees and, hey, you could have done this. You could have thought about this and that issue. I can tell you that, there have been fights where referees have made a decision. It turned out to be a bad decision, and they still have fights left in the card, and they're taken off of those fights. And all of a sudden, I was told, "Hey, you're doing this fight also," and it's a horrible position to be in if you're the guy being put into it because you don't want to, be the guy that's sliding in and taking this guy's fight, but if you're the commission, you can understand, I don't agree with your cognitive ability right now, your ability to make a decision. I'm not going to give you another chance. It is up to that commission at that point. they can either sit that referee down, they can sit that judge down for as long as they want, and have them do certain things to bring themselves back. There are commissions that do that. And then there are commissions that'll look at it and go, all right, you understand what the mistake was. All right, let's move on. And they'll bring them back. And as long as they continue to work, in a competent fashion, they're going to be okay. You will have times that they make a mistake again, and you'll see them, being sit down. It's not easy. The one thing I want to make clear is this for everyone. If you think that the referees or judges don't care, you're fucking nuts. Okay? They care more than you realize. They care more than you can ever imagine, because it's so different to be a judge and to be sitting in that chair, and that piece of paper that's sitting in front of you that you're going to mark, it actually means something. It's not like when you're sitting there watching the fights, or me and Josh watching fights, and we sit there and I mark something. My score doesn't mean shit. Okay? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Doesn't matter. When you're the judge, it makes a difference, and it's a whole lot different making that call when that score matters. It is not taken lightly. In fact, these guys take it very seriously. They do a whole lot more than you would ever imagine as far as talking with each other, going over fights, rescoring fights. They do it continuously because they care. When you're the referee, trust me, you care. You don't want to do anything that's going to affect a fighter's career in a bad way, because you're the one that lives with it. I know that people look at it and it's like, oh, you should have let that fight go on, and a referee stops the fight and they're all upset. The one thing that the referee can't show you what was going to happen. And again, one of the things that's happened with the COVID era is you're able to hear things now that in the past you couldn't hear and stuff. Well, that's all information that helps the referee make decisions. But when the referee allows the fight to go on and doesn't stop the fight, and then the fighter does get hurt, the referee is the one that has to live with it. And trust me, it makes a big determination in their mind, because they are living with it. They think about it all the time. You as the fans, you put that, you get mad, you type stuff on Twitter, on Instagram, you say your things, and then boom, it's gone. Well, it's not gone for the referee. He lives with it and thinks about it every day. It doesn't go away. It's part of you, because they do care. And so I just want that to be put out there. It's a lot more important, the decisions they make, than people realize, as far as personally to them.
Yeah, the judging part is definitely more difficult than people think, because I think with the over evaluation of what happens, not fighters, but judges will sometimes overanalyze.
And that causes the problems. Yep.
By more conversations with more people, more talking and discussion of watching the fight over and over and over again, they will overanalyze what they're looking at, when in reality it's not. I'm not saying like it's not that difficult, but it's like they're looking at, like you said, overanalyzing. They're looking at it too in depth, and they're criticizing every little thing when they didn't need to. They could have just said, okay, look, this guy won the takedown, this guy got up, it's kind of a wash, this guy did this guy did that. Okay, like I'm going to give it to this guy. Instead, they're looking at every little piece of it too much. That, I would say, that's probably more of the factor that plays a factor than people think. As far as what the reffing goes, I have no problem with when refs stop it early and when refs stop it a tiny bit late. The reason being is because you literally have a split second to make that decision to jump in. One fighter will be mad at you because you stopped too early, and the other fighter, the next time when it gets stopped too late, everyone will be mad at you because you stopped it too late. So it's a shitty situation to be in, but you have a split second to make those decisions. But either way, at the end of the day, look, dude, it's all about, hey, you can still fight, and there's one more fight left or whatever it is. You have another fight left in you, whatever fighter you are. So you can't, I look at, when John missed the headbutt. I mean, you know, I looked at it that way, and I was like, you know, I just moved on. It is what it is. No, it's not.
I didn't miss the headbutt. I enjoy.
I know.
The
headbutt. I understand. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense.
Now.
It all makes sense.
You know, but one of the things I want everyone to understand, there's so much pressure. You have no concept of the pressure that's on those officials. And they take all of the stuff that you guys put out there and, you know, all the comments, and it affects them. It affects them a lot, you know, to the point where you look, there was a referee this year that has walked away based upon one fight and the comments from that one fight. And there's other ones out there, the top of the food chain guys, that they're contemplating not doing it anymore because of the amount of pressure and the response that they get when, you know, I will say this. There was a guy, I want to say I don't want to say his name wrong, but I think it's Curtis Pyle, did this cartoon thing with Mark Goddard recently. And it was on what it's like to be a referee. And he did this whole thing, and Mark Goddard kind of talks, and it's really good, really well done. He talks about, hey, you know, before the big fight, he'll always go in the back and just take some time. I used to do the same thing. And you just want to clear your mind because every fight is different. You can think you know what's going to happen, but every fight is what I call a work of art that just starts to play out and become what it is in front of you. And you can't make decisions on what you think is going to happen. You have to go with what really does happen. And in it, you know, Mark says something about it. He goes, I could stop a meteorite from hitting the earth and there'd be people that would be upset with me. That's what it's like to be a referee in MMA. No matter what you do, there are people that are going to be upset with what you did, even if what you did was perfect. So it's just part of it's part of the game, and it's part of wearing the hat.
I think with any, whether you're a ref, whether you're a judge, whether you're a fighter, an athlete, whatever it is, when it comes down to this type of stuff, stay the fuck away from social media. Don't even bother.
Oh God, yes. I tell guys all the time. Yeah.
You just gotta follow what I honestly, I started doing this just only like a month ago when you and I had talked about it, and some of the other guys on our production team talked about it. Is I'd listened to a little bit of what Rogan said as well as what you guys said. Is just post your stuff and move on.
Oh yeah.
Don't care. Like, you know, if someone says something positive, thank them for it. The rest of it, anything else, just move on. Like you're not making a difference in my life, you know, like not a positive one anyways. And so I can move on. That's really what it comes down to. Next one.
Yep.
Next one is from Nareg Darakijian. John and Josh. Who do you guys think
that right there is a name that Josh is going to have to pronounce in the next
fight. He says, John and Josh, who do you guys think wins in Burns versus Usman? I'm taking Burns in that. That's what he said.
Yeah, I think Burns wins also.
I think that Burns possesses the strongest game to beat Usman that there has, as far as what he brings to the table. He has all the tools to beat Usman. Will he do it? That remains to be seen. But he's the biggest threat for beating Kamaru Usman.
Yeah, the reason why I feel like he's the biggest threat is because if he can get inside the boxing range, I think because he is shorter, stockier, he can hit the body, he can hit the head. He's not concerned about his head being pulled down into being taken down. He's not afraid of being taken down. He's okay with being on the ground with anybody. There's not as much of a threat there.
His game limits Kamaru Usman's game.
Yeah.
In that Kamaru Usman normally, generally, usually takes guys to the ground. He uses his wrestling. He beats them up on the ground, or he brings them up against the cage and uses a clinch game where he'll sit there and he'll dirty box and knee. In all of those, you know, he's not going to want to take, you know, Burns down.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's only going to want to take Burns down if Burns is hurt. And that's still a moment where you got to be careful because Burns has the ability to submit anybody. He's that good.
Yeah.
And so you take a look at what Kamaru Usman is good at. He can put him against the cage and he could beat him up there, but that's where he's strongest. When you talk about boxing on the outside, I think Gilbert Burns' boxing on the outside is just as good as Kamaru Usman's, and he's got power in his hands. He can hurt Usman. Usman can hurt him, but on the feet, Gilbert has gotten really good.
Yeah.
And he uses good footwork. Now you take a look at what he did against, Tyron Woodley. Woodley's got power, and Gilbert just technically dismantled, Woodley in the stand-up. And he's got the ability to do that. So the big part of this whole thing is the skill set that Durinho brings. Gilbert Burns brings a skill set that can cause Kamaru Usman to limit his offensive skill set to the point that he can't fight the fight that he normally does, and that upsets his rhythm and it causes him a problem in the fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the reach, it's the reach and the range. That's what gets me, is that he's so long, and then Usman. So
Yeah.
Gilbert's going to have to get inside that, because if he stays on the outside, he's going to end up looking like Colby Covington at the end. You know what I mean? And Usman using that push kick, Usman using that jab, sticking that jab out there. I feel like Gilbert's got to get on the inside. He's got to make it, because even if once he gets on the inside, it makes it easier for Gilbert to grab him, lock him up, keep him from striking him, those kind of things. If Gilbert gets in trouble in the boxing exchange, he can grab him and hold him. Usman's natural reaction maybe would take him down, which falls right into what he wants to do. So it's kind of this whole Goichi Yamauchi thing where people, he has that weird long stand-up style, and people end up taking him down knowing he's good on the ground. And I feel like the same thing goes with Usman, with Gilbert. If Gilbert gets inside and starts making it like one of those fights where we're grappling and we're pummeling and I'm hitting some strikes in you, natural reaction might be for Usman for him to take him down and go right into where Gilbert Burns wants him to be. I'm going to lean, like you said, all the things that Gilbert does well is what feeds into what Usman normally would do. And so that, I think, is going to benefit Gilbert Burns more. So I'm going to go with Gilbert.
There's simple things. Usman is a natural wrestler. That's where his background comes from. And you take a look at what he does at times. If he was trying to actually gain distance, you'll watch Usman at times, he'll push. He's strong, and he'll straighten an arm out in framing. Instead of framing with his arm bent inside, which is good for defending against submissions, he'll straighten the arm, and all it takes is that long for Gilbert Burns to grab hold of something, and all of a sudden that arm is getting stretched. So he's got to be very careful about what he does in the fight.
Yeah.
Good fight, though. Can't wait for it.
It's going to be a good fight. Next. Do they have a date? Do they have a date for that fight?
I don't think so.
Next is from Kevin. How do you guys see how do you guys see the sport of MMA evolving? What do you guys see in 50 years from now?
Evolving, huh? They'll get rid of the downward elbows. I really can't. I can't see how much more it would evolve outside of just more fighters coming in from other countries that are relatively not as, they don't have as many top level fighters now, but they will eventually. Like in China, they've got a handful, but they're not gonna. They don't have a lot of top level. Not a lot of them. They've got like they will. They will. And I think that like what you're seeing right now, in New Zealand and Australia, you're getting some top guys out of there and girls. You know what I mean? Like how you've seen with Russia now is just there's just so many of them are coming out of there now. Before it was just the US, Brazil, and and Japan. And then now you're seeing that it's worldwide now. It's becoming a worldwide sport. Sure, there's always been fighters that have one or two that have come from certain areas of the world. But now you're seeing groups of them, like you've had a couple from Sweden, you've had a couple from, Italy now, you've had a couple from the UK, several from the UK. I'm waiting to see when you get more from like South Africa, from that area there. I'm waiting to see when you get more from India, different areas of the world that we have not yet seen a lot of top fighters come from. I want to see, I think that's kind of where the future of the sport will be held, where these countries that have over 1 billion population, when are they going to start producing just multiples of just stars? I'm waiting to see on that. I think that's kind of where the future of the sport will hold.
Well, I think you're right as far as the future of the sport, as far as worldwide status and worldwide participation is a big part that's going to happen in the future. The other part I think that you're going to see is there's just going to be a continuing evolution as far as what is done in MMA that in the past we always say that will never work. It's going to work. Those things are coming. The ability for people to pull those types of attacks off, the ability for those people to exhibit techniques that we always said, don't do that. They will be done, and it will be done frequently, and it's only going to increase, which only makes the sport better.
Yep.
Next is really not a question, but Starkiller says, this podcast is actually the best MMA podcast out right now. Much love to Rogan in DC and Helwani, but you guys are my pick for #1 MMA podcast.
You would be correct, buddy. I appreciate you.
I'm glad, I don't want to say that I totally agree with you, but I do.
Yeah.
Because that was probably the most intelligent statement stated on this show today.
Next one. We'll give you guys 10 more. We'll do 10 more minutes of 10 more minutes.
All right. Lucas Hernandez said, should Tyron Woodley stay at 170 or go 185 if he stays in UFC or go to other promotion?
Look, I think it's 38 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe he does. Maybe he goes to the PFL. Fights guys like Ray Cooper. I don't know if Jake's still there or not. But you've got that division. That's another name value that they could use. I don't think there would be a whole lot of interest for him to go to Bellator. They just had the welterweight tournament. There's not a lot of fights for him there. I mean, there'd be a couple, but I don't see that happening or panning out. So I think the PFL would probably be the way. I don't know. I don't even know if the PFL would be interested, but I could see that potentially working out for him. I mean, staying in the UFC, him and Dana don't get along. And I know from experience that when you don't get along with Dana, there's really no reason for you to be there anymore. Just move on. Go somewhere else.
Yeah. I don't know what Tyron's going to do. I love Tyron. He's a great guy. And he's a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
If you're looking and saying, could he go up? Stature-wise, he's got a lot of muscle on his body. As far as he's not real long, though.
Yeah. Now,
his reach isn't bad, but at 185, you're talking about guys that are, the Luke Rockholds are 6'3". The Gegard Mousasi, 6'2". You're getting guys that are normally in that anywhere from 6 foot to 6'4" is the norm of the middleweight class now. Take Israel Adesanya is 6'4". So frame wise, I just don't think that Tyron matches up well moving up to 185. So I think his perfect weight class is the welterweight. I think he's got to lose some weight to make that weight limit, but he's used to that, and he still has speed. What Tyron needs is confidence. Mm-hmm. He needs confidence. Just go out and be the guy that he was when he was searching for that title. Be the guy that was knocking out guys like Josh Koscheck, putting it on Robbie Lawler to take the title. Marching down on Wonder Boy. That's the guy he needs to be. He needs to get that confidence back. Yeah. Get the swagger.
Agree.
All right, next one is from Charles Foster Kane. How old is too old for someone to start fighting?
I mean, now these days it's 21, 22. You should have been training when you were 13, 14, the way the level of jiu-jitsu is and wrestling. And I mean, just the level of wrestling and jiu-jitsu itself. I felt like with striking, you could always adapt and make that happen as long as your wrestling and jiu-jitsu were well. It's not. I feel like it's not the other way around. You can't just develop your wrestling and your jiu-jitsu like overnight. So like you can with your striking. Your striking can develop within 2
I
3
don't
years.
know.
2
I don't
3
know.
years.
When you take a look at guys like Israel Adesanya,
Yeah.
man, he has made himself into a guy that on the ground he can deal with people.
Mm-hmm.
His wrestling defense is outstanding. You know, you can learn anything. You know, it depends on your attitude and how you learn and what you're willing to put into learning. So it's when you say age, if you're looking to be, I want to be a champion in this sport, I think you have to look towards being what Josh is saying. You need to start off and say, hey, you know, somewhere at the age of 14, 15, you got to be getting into a gym and starting to learn jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You need to come out of a high school wrestling program or a college wrestling program with that kind of background, a combat sports oriented background. If you're just starting and you haven't done anything at all in submission grappling, wrestling, in boxing, kickboxing, anything, by the time you're 21, yeah, you can compete in MMA, but you better be that super uber athlete if you're ever going to be a guy that's going to compete for, you know, a belt.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Next question's from Syed Ali Kabir Zaidi. John and Josh, fighters say they are businessmen now. Has the mentality changed over the years, or was it the same in the old UFC days?
Depends on who
No,
you were.
it's completely different.
Yeah.
No, it's completely different.
I think it depends on who you were. You know, I think back in the day there was guys that treated it like a business. They didn't get very far. But there's guys that treated it like a business and they didn't get very far. Now, yeah, you're right. I think a lot of them now are treating it like a business, but they still have that. I got to be in the UFC type mentality instead of checking the free market agency. Here's the issue that I see with what's going on now, and is that they need to every contract check the free market agency. Not when they're starting to get old, not when they're ready to, not when they realize that their time is coming to a close. No. When you're in your prime is when you should be checking your free agency. Your free market agency be like, when I'm 27 and I know I'm in the top 5, I'm going to check now. Because that's when you're going to drive up the price the most. Not when you're coming to a close, not when your career is almost end. Like those days now, like I'm just simply saying, like there's promotions are not going to always want to be the ones. They have to pay more for some of the guys now because they're not the UFC. So they have to pay more to attract some of the talent. Well, they're not going to they don't want to attract the ones that are going to be older, the ones that can't produce and put fans in the stands, or the ones that don't have those exciting fights. The signings now need to be to the point where the rosters are starting to fill up in the other organizations. The signings now need to be, hey, you guys, when you're in your peak, check your free market agency, because that's when those other promotions now will be willing to drive the price up for you. And that's when that UFC contract now will be where they're like, okay, look, do we really want them? Do we really want to keep them? You're going to make them want to pay that price. And I'll give you an example. Was Gilbert Melendez was trying to leave right after, I think he had fought Benson. It was one of those fights. And he was going to go, no, actually, before he even went to the UFC, he was supposed to go.
No.
Was it before?
Nope.
It was after he fought Benson.
Exactly. No, he was part of the Strike Force, shuffle over along with you. And he immediately got Benson.
Yep.
And he lost that fight against Benson. And then he lost the fight against, I want to say Pettis.
No, he won a fight in between. He beat.
Yeah, he beat Diego Sanchez.
Yeah.
But I think, and then he lost to Pettis and he was out of his contract. And he actually got a deal with Bellator.
Yes.
But again, this is where you have that matching where the UFC had the right, since they had his contract, they could match the offer made by Bellator at the time, or they could let him go. And they decided to match it to keep him. So he got matched, and I could be wrong as far as when that happened, in that it might have been right after the Benson Henderson fight.
Yeah, I think it was after either Diego fight. I think it was after the Diego fight. It was somewhere. Okay. It was after the Benson or the Diego. There. Somewhere in that conversation, there was the Diego or the Benson fight. But my point is, Gilbert made a ton of fucking money because he tried to do that during the time at the peak of what he was being successful. When he
he went and found out what he was worth.
And for all the other fighters that are waiting till the end, you guys, that's not the way this is going to work anymore. You guys need to start going when your guys are hot, because that's what's going to drive up your price. Don't wait until you're on the downslide, because now the UFC is like, hey, we don't really need you. Like, we can go ahead and build a young guy from the Contender Series that we pay a lot less money. No, if you guys are in your prime, this is when you guys should go. You guys should try and test it out.
If you go on the media now, the things that we've been saying as far as what the UFC is doing with taking the young fighters and getting rid of the guys that make a lot of money, the older fighters that make a lot of money, and replacing them with these young guys out of the Dana White Contender Series, all of a sudden now I'm looking on the MMA websites. That's what they're writing about. It's like, oh, yeah, never heard of that before.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a smart business practice by the UFC, and I'm not knocking them for doing it. I think it's brilliant on their part. But I think as a fighter, you have to understand exactly where you stand. And if you're on the downhill and you're trying to go to another organization, not everyone's going to be a Yoel Romero and Anthony Johnson to get signed. Because like Scott Coker said recently, look, I talk to every free agent. What it comes down to is, do you fit into what I'm trying to do in the weight class that I'm trying to do it in? And at this time, I think you're seeing that they're trying to do something at 135 and they're trying to do something at 205. And those two guys just so happen to fit into that market. Now, I had said, I hope we didn't sign Yoel, but the reason why I said that at 185, there's no one really for him to fight except for Gegard. And then where do you go with that? He's a 44-year-old champion. Now, when you sign Anthony Johnson, you sign Yoel, and you have Corey Anderson, and you've got, Nemkov, you got Ryan Bader maybe coming out, Phil Davis, you got all these guys. Now you've got a group of guys at 205 there's a lot of excitement and buzz around having fight. What I'm saying is that fighters, like if I was to look at this thing here, and I say, Dan Hooker, you're young, you're very good, there's a chance you could potentially be champion, but when your contract comes up and you're still in this top 5, you need to go and test the free market agency, because you're someone that I could see them trying to bank on. Your teammates with Izzy, you train, I think, with Volkanovski and these guys. Like, there's a connection there that they would probably love to have to be able to build around. They're not going to want to let you go. Gilbert Melendez got paid a ton of fucking money, and he also had a no-cut clause in his contract as well. So he got paid a ton of money with a no-cut clause. This is the type of contract you guys could have. When we had Nate Corey on the other day talking about this stuff, you don't need to go and make this push for the union. Just start doing this. Start going out there and seeing what you're fucking worth in the middle of your prime. Then your money will go up. Everyone's money will go up. They're going to have to start making choices. Do we want to keep these guys or do we not? And if they don't keep you, who cares? You're going to go to another promotion like Anthony Johnson did when he went to the World Series of Fighting, made a ton of money, was successful, came back and made triple the money he was making before he got cut or left. With the UFC. So don't think that they will not take you back. They will always take you back if you are what? Winning. Winning solves everything. Okay, and that's my point. My point is, don't wait until you're on the downslide. You can always come back to the UFC. They are not stupid. They are business people. They will bring you back no matter what, as long as you are winning. If you are successful in this company, they will want you. They will want to steal you from them. This is what they do. Look at that's how they end up with Chandler. Chandler was successful in Bellator. They wanted Michael Chandler. They paid Michael Chandler a lot of money, to the point where Bellator said, we have no interest in matching that number. That lets you know that how this deal needs to be done. You guys, if you guys are in the top 10, you guys need to go. You guys need to go and check the free market. Let your contract wear out. All of you. If you guys want to get paid more money as fighters, this is me to you as a fighter telling you guys, check in the middle of your market for you guys to make the most amount of money. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're right.
All right.
This is about making money. I know all the fans out there. They think that, you take a side because of Bellator. No. I take the side based upon the fighter. Mm-hmm. And I want the fighter to make the most. And I know that if a fighter is willing to not care about having to fight for a specific promotion, they're going to do much better financially throughout their career. You know, like guys like Eddie Alvarez, guys, you know, those guys right there, they're going to do much better if they don't care. That's how you make the big bucks. You know, Michael Chandler, I'm going to tell you, to be honest, I don't think Michael Chandler wanted to leave Bellator.
Yeah.
I think he would have liked to have stayed at Bellator. But in the same situation that the UFC matched what Gilbert Melendez brought to keep him, Bellator was not willing to match what the UFC brought to keep Chandler. And so Chandler made the right move and said, well, I got to go where the money's at. Boom. And he went. Good job.
Yep.
So,
yeah, he's making more money in the UFC than he was going to make probably in Bellator. Bellator chose not to match it. And this is what I'm talking about. Every fighter in the top 10, if you have 2 fights left, fight out your contract. Go and check and see.
well,
Because even if you don't, they're still going to want to sign you. The UFC is going to want to sign you. If you're in their top 10, they're going to want to sign you. And if you do sign somewhere else and you think you can have success over there for getting paid more money, keep winning. Fight out your 4-fight contract or your 6-fight contract. And when you're done there, check the free market agency again. And I'll guarantee if you were having success in that other organization, they're going to want you back. No, any of these promotions will want you if you are winning. That's the key. Like I've said, I'm going to make a shirt. We're going to make a shirt. It says winning solves everything. That's really what it comes down to. It really just comes down to Anthony Johnson is proof of that. Eddie Alvarez is proof that as long as you go where the money is, you're going to make a ton of money. He's done it his whole career, and he's had a successful career throughout. Every promotion he's been to, I think he's been champion. Bodog champion, Elite XC champion. He wasn't Strikeforce champion, but UFC champion. I mean, he's in one. He'll probably be the one champion. You know, I mean, it's just got to go where the money is, make a ton of money, make as much money as you possibly can. And Anthony Johnson's proof that they will bring you back if you're having success somewhere else.
oh yeah.
And they'll bring you back normally for more money. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, we're going to wrap this up. Go to mybookie.ag or mybookie.com. Weighing in promo code. Use the weighing in promo code, and they will give you 50% of your initial deposit. So if I deposit $1,000, they'll give you another $500, and you'll bet
50% on top.
50% on top.
Thank you.
And if you spend $50 on the Jake Paul fight or Logan Paul fight against Floyd Mayweather and you win, I want $50.
You owe us
$50, at least $50. I know you're going to win a lot more than $50, but I want at least $50. Also, go to prowrestlingtees.com/weighing in. Use the promo code FIGHT. Okay, and check out all, like Big John, like I said, the plethora of shirts that we have to offer.
Baby.
All different colors. We've got the Terminator shirt, the Karate Kid shirt. We've got the Home Improvement shirt. And we've got Gian trying to take video of me while I'm doing this. So I like to give Gian the bird every single time. We also have our weighing in logo in all different colors, in the red and the blue color, as well as in the green and the gray and all different other colors. We also have a black and white version as well. So you guys check those out. And I think that is pretty much it. We also, we also want to thank you guys for making our podcast as successful as it is. We're growing all the time. Thank you for subscribing. Tell your friends about us. Tell them they can catch us on YouTube and Google and Spotify and Stitcher and Apple iTunes, all of those different podcasting platforms, I guess you would call them, but have them check us out. Make sure that they subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. We'll always take that. If you want to give us a thumbs down, get them out of here. I don't care. But getting close to saying a happy new year to everyone. 2020 has been an incredible year. I get COVID right at the end. Thank you very much. But hopefully 2021 is a little bit better, man. It's been fun. Thank you very much to my man, Josh Thompson, Podcast Dave, Gian. You guys are the best. Enjoy doing it with you. So the last thing I have to say for you is, Josh, see ya.